Hello you lovely people and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a cold start demo in the DC Designs F-14 Alpha, Bravo and Delta. Slight difference with the Delta, but really nothing huge. So I'm going to jump into the Alpha as VF213 Black Lions. They used the F-14 from the Alpha and the Delta, so I'll be using the Black Lions liveries for both, and as they flew from Naval Air Station Oceana in the later part of their career, I'll be flying or starting up from Oceana anyway, but they did begin their F-14 careers at Naval Air Station Miramar. Now, with the history covered, the Alpha and the Bravo, as the cockpit layouts are exactly the same, start-up procedure is exactly the same. As I say, the Delta is a slight difference, nothing major, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we'll start with the Black Lions in the Alpha on the apron at Oceana. Right, so we're on the ramp at Oceana. I've gone ahead and opened the canopy, dropped the ladder, and put the throttles into the shut-off D10, just to make it a bit more of a complete cold start. So we're going to jump in, we'll take off the engine covers, hit the pedestal light to get the crew in, and then we'll bring everything to life. So like I said, we're going to hit the pedestal light, which is this light switch here. Crew visibility is now on, so we're in the cockpit. We're now going to remove the covers, and now we can start bringing the aircraft to life. So I'm going to switch on the battery, okay, and then switch on avionics. HUD power is already switched on. Next we're going to switch on anti-collisions and our nav lights. I'm going to put the inlet ramps over to auto. Come over to wing sweep, and we're going to manually bring those forward if it will let me. Okay, there we go. And we're going to switch on left and right generators. Make sure that the wing sweep is where it needs to be, and it is. Next we're going to we can either use our wing tanks externals feed for the startup, and you can do that but the switch here as you require it. Then we're going to hit the cross bleed starter switch and hit the crank left right, and the right engine will spool up, as you can hear. And we're going to take the right throttle out of D10 into idle position. And we're going to wait for that to get to about 5,000. Once that's settled, all is good. We're going to do the same again. We're going to click the crank left right. This time the left engine will spool up, and then we'll bring the throttle into idle. Okay. There we go. While that's doing that, we can bring the ladder up, close the canopy, lock it. Wait for the RPMs to settle again. Take off the chocks. Ground power unit can come off. I'm not going to wear visor or mask at the moment. We're on the ground. And let those settle. All is good. We can bring the wing sweep down back into auto. Close the cover. Bring the flaps down 1 notch. Nose wheel steering, hit that twice so that we've got high gain. That's my preference. You don't have to do that. We can switch the air source from both engines. All is good there. We can hit the taxi light as we are now good to go. And then all we need to do now is take the parking brake off, make our way to the end of the runway. But we're not going to do that in the Alpha model. We're going to jump in the Delta and then we'll do the takeoff from there, but it's pretty much the same. Make sure everything is reading in the right parameters. Make sure that your flaps are down for takeoff, and then once the aircraft hits 150 knots, rotate, gear up, flaps up before 250 knots, and you're good to go. But yes, let's jump in the Delta, or the D as they call it. So now we're back on the ramp in the F-14 Delta, the Super Tomcat in livery of VF-213 Black Lions, again who were stationed actually at Naval Air Station Oceana with the Delta. So as you can see, I've gone in again, I've opened the canopy, dropped the ladder, and I've put the throttles in the fuel shut off. So let's jump in. We're going to take the covers off, hit the pedestal again so that the crew are showing, and then get the old girl started up. Right, okay, so we're going to hit the pedestal switch there, get the crew visibility on, and we're going to remove the covers. Now, see if you can tell me the difference between starting this and the Alpha or Bravo. So, we're going to hit the power switch with the battery. Okay, and then we're going to hit the avionics switch. See the difference? Yeah, battery's up here now, avionics has moved over here. Sorry guys, that's the only difference in the startup. But if you're not wanting to use the Alpha or Bravo and just wanting the Delta, I'm going to include a timestamp of which you will probably have already hit in the description. So anyway, this is the Delta startup. So power switch on, avionics on. Okay, we're going to hit the anti-collisions and nav lights, and we're going to come over here. We're going to switch the inlet ramps to auto, manual wing sweep to fully forward, generators both left and right to on. Okay, I'm just going to wait for the wings, make sure that they are all the way forward. Good. Okay, and we're going to make sure that the visor and mask are unwear, just for my personal preference, as we're on the ground at the moment. Nose wheel steering high gain, double click the button on the control column there. Right, so we're basically ready to fire up. So if we come over to the cross bleed, and well, you can, again, like in the Alpha or Bravo, you can select which tanks you are going to be starting up from. You can use the externals, crossfeed or wing. And now we can hit the crossbleed air starter switch on, and now we're going to switch left or right crank. Now the right engine RPMs will build up, as you can hear, spooling up now. All we're going to do now is introduce fuel flow by throttling forward into the idle from the fuel shut off. Okay, and we've got a good start for engine 1. Just got to make sure that the temperatures, fuel flow, everything is reading nominal. and that will settle at around 5,000. Okay, now we can start the left engine, hit the crank again. The left engine is cranking. Okay, we're going to throttle into idle. Okay, and while that finishes firing up, we're going to stow the ladder, close the canopy, lock that up. Going to remove the chocks, hit the taxi light, we can now put the wing sweep back into auto, cover it up. Okay, engines are settled nicely and we are good to go. Going to take the parking brake off, and now we can taxi to the end of the runway. We're going to be using 05 right, so throttle forward, and best taxi speed is anything below 10 knots. You better stop, mate, if you know what's good for you. No, you're not going to give way, are you? One thing I really hate about flight sim, that needs to be sorted. Oh, come on, mate. Aircraft have right away. Any more? No? Right, I'm going to get out of it before we get some more in the way. Turn left here. I know I'm breaking the 10 knot rule, but I just want to get away from those vehicles. And this is going to be pretty much the same as I explained in the Alpha Bravo startup, except I'm just going to actually physically take it through. It's going to be a matter of taxi down to the end of the runway, get clearance, get the flaps down for takeoff, and then we will taxi out. And once we start rolling, as soon as we hit 150 knots, we can rotate. Although it is dependent on weight, I've not changed anything from the default load in and start up, so probably on about 50% fuel with no load out. If you're heavier, it may take a little bit more than 150 knots to get off the ground, so just bear that in mind. Don't take me as gospel. Once you're up, retract the flaps and the gear before you hit 250 knots, and the rest will take care of itself basically. Switch off the taxi light, and yeah, you're good to go. So we'll just act that out now. we should have a headwind of around about 13 knots blowing at the 050. So we shouldn't have any nasty crosswinds. And yes, I did set that up before the flight, so I'm cheating slightly. I'm not using live weather. Slow it down a bit as we are going way faster than a 10 knot taxi speed as recommended. And then we're at 05 right. This is where you would get clearance. I'm just going to go straight out. I don't do any of the ATC stuff because I'm useless at it, and it's bad enough me trying to talk you through a cold start demo or any demo of that kind without trying to talk ATC, which I never ever grasped. Okay, so pretty much one centre line. Okay, we're going to make sure all temperatures are good, fuel flow looks good, RPMs are good, plenty of fuel. What do we have here? Got a wing sweep, that's fine. Didn't put the air source to both. Okay, taxi light is still on, that's good. Right, so we have got flaps where we need it. Okay, good to go. So, let's switch. There is no takeoff option in the modes here, just air to air, air to ground and landing. So yeah, let's fire the open the taps up and get up in the air. Okay, burn, brakes off, full afterburner is on, that's good. We rotate around 150 knots, so nose up, gear up, flaps up, keep it low. And up we go. We're just going to climb to 10,000 feet. No, going to roll over. Yeah, we're over 10,000 feet, but there you go. Throttle back. 12,000 feet. Pretty good. Now we can just do what we like. We are free as a bird. Okay, so that's the Alpha Bravo and a separate Delta startup for the F-14 by DC Designs. I hope that's helped out. I know they're very similar in both startup modes with just a variation on the switch, but if you just want to go straight from cold start by the Delta, then you've obviously hit the timestamp in the description. Anyway, I waffle on for way too long. If you've got this far, thank you for watching, and as always, take care, and I will see you in the next one.